Hey everybody, my name is Philip Carter and welcome to IGAA broadcast. We're going to be talking tonight about 5 ways that every artist can make money now. Not just independent artists, but every artist can make money now. You want to like and share and tell somebody else about this tonight because this may be of help. This may be a blessing to somebody else tonight. In all of our quests to do what the Lord has called us to do. Truly, knowledge is power, information is power, and when you get that information, then you can move from information to application. So, hey, like and share, let somebody else know, and we'll be right back with. We're going to air this brief video, and we'll be right back.
What's up, everybody? My name is Earl Bynum. I am the founder of Earl Bynum Ministries Incorporated, El Rey Entertainment, LLC, as well as On Stage with Earl Bynum syndicated radio show. Listen, I'm going to talk about the IGAA, Independent Gospel Artists Alliance Conference. What it means to me. Well, it means so much to me. One, because I am the co-founder, along with Philip Carter, of the IGAA Conference, which is the Independent Gospel Artists Alliance Conference. It means the world to me to be a place that can assist artists in their next, especially independent artists. I have a love for independent artists because I am an independent artist. So to have something like the IGAA to be somewhat of a foundation to your next is amazing to me. To be part of that structure, should I say, of the foundation you're already building. So many artists, we be out here and we're looking or don't understand who we need to connect with or who we need to talk to or who can assist us in the process of where we are to go next. Whether it's listening to a song to decide which song should possibly go to radio or which song should you promote, even understanding the concept of being creative with your cover and your video concepts, and the other things you need, from making sure your songs are registered properly and all of that. That is what the IGAA means to me. Just to be able to be an organization to help others to figure out what their next is. I'm telling you, you should be a part of the IGAA. Don't delay. Become a part of this wonderful family called the Indie Gospel Artists Alliance. What is it? The IGAA. Believe me, it's also for you.
We're back, and we want to let you know. Thank you, Earl. We want to let you know that the IGA Conference is coming up in less than 2 months, July 7th through the 9th. All virtual, all online. It will allow you greater access to clinicians. It'll be taped and recorded. So not only will you get all this valuable information, but you'll be able to recall that information after the conference is over, of everything that has gone on during those 2.5 days of learning, growing, fellowship, and worship. Well, I want to invite my clinicians on. First of all, I want to introduce, a co-founder of the IGAA, Earl Bynum. He's Mr. Everything, Mr. International. He's done so much in the industry, and I'll let him kind of talk about a little bit about what he's done, because I could be here for the next 5 minutes introducing a person of his stature and the things that he's done. But will you all please help me welcome Earl Bynum to the broadcast. Hey, Brother Earl.
Hey, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Man, good to see you. Let me bring on the next person, my friend Thomas Rollins, who actually, I met him while promoting my own record back in 2008, 2009. He was such a help to me. He is a consultant. He used to work for distribution companies. He has expertise in almost every area of the music industry. He is also with us tonight. So you all please help me welcome Brother Thomas Rollins. How you doing, Brother Rollins? You may want to unmute yourself.
Phil, hey Earl, glad to be a part of.
Glad to have you. The next person tonight is Miss Simone Henry, founder of Eshe Music. She was one of the original independent internet broadcasters back when internet radio wasn't even heard of, and now internet radio is big. And Simone Henry is a trailblazer. She's a consultant. She's a beautiful woman of God she's kind of a Janet of all trades, but she really specializes in helping an artist build online, build promoter, helping you to get to the bottom of what is the bottom of what you're supposed to do and help you to build that from the ground up. Will you please help me welcome Sister Simone Henry? Simone.
Hey.
Hey. You all go ahead and mute yourselves for me real quick. Now, the next brother, we call him the Gospel Luther Vandross. He is Brother Robert Person. He is one of the few in the country who made singing jazz and gospel a thing. Who made singing gospel ballads a thing again. I mean, he is really just a person who does his thing, and he made it work. He's developed an audience. He is a syndicated radio host. He still serves faithfully in church. He is a little bit of everything. Will you please help me welcome Mr. Robert E. Person? Robert, glad to have you.
Hey, Philip, thank you for having me so much. Hello, everybody.
Yes, sir. And last but not least is attorney Garrett Johnson. I met Garrett Johnson when I was still trying to match my socks. Garrett Johnson has been a help to so many people across this country with his advice, with his counsel, with his expertise, not just as an entertainment attorney, but also he's also a tax attorney. He's multi-gifted. He is a realist. He tells the truth, and he's able to get you out of binds. Ask me how I know. Will you please welcome Brother Garrett Johnson?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Phil. You're too kind.
Man, thank you for joining us. So for everybody, I'm gonna ask questions, and then you can unmute yourself when you're talking, and I'm asking that you mute yourself back when you're done, since we got so many people on tonight. So if you're tuning in tonight, please like and share with somebody. We're gonna be offering some valuable tips on what an artist can do, what you, the artist, can do, or what you, the independent label owner, can do to really start to generate income. We've been in a pandemic for 2.5 years. I don't see much signs that it's going to end. There are more things that could be happening. We might have to retreat again before we progress. What does that mean for you? How are you going to navigate? In fact, how are you going to thrive in this industry based on the changes that are going on? And so what I'd like for everybody to do is to offer one tip, just one general tip, and then we're going to go into some of the things that you all gave me that we can offer to everybody. So don't write these down yet. I want you all just to kind of hear in general where you see things going in the industry, or something that you're seeing artists doing right now that they may need to reconsider. So I'll start with Garrett, if you don't mind. Let's start with you.
Thanks a lot, Philip. Oh my gosh. I'm a big one for information, and so a tip that I would have, I think it's just common sense. You should pay attention to what's going on, and plug yourself into the credible information sources that are out there. There are numbers of different organizations that exist. We can talk about the IGAA as first and foremost. But for example, with the performing rights organizations, if any of you are members, first of all, you should all know what a performing rights organization is, number one. Number two, if you write and at all, you need to belong to one of them. But even more importantly than that, they are excellent sources of information, and they do conferences, they do things throughout the year that if you plug into, you can hear some of the current things that are going on and current changes in the industry. So Always seek information. That's what that would be my tip. Always seek information, credible information, not misinformation. We have too much of that today.
Well, thank you for that. That's valuable information. And I started with you because it's such shock and awe to have you on social media tonight. So I had to start. I wanted to jump into the fire. Have Gary Johnson. Well, we appreciate you, my friend. Thomas, let me go. Let me go to you. You're muted.
All right, I got it. All right, I would say my tip would be that I've had to learn is to be more visible and be more accessible and do everything intentional.
More visible, more accessible. Do everything intentional. Can you come up with just a small example of what that might be?
That may be visible means be available be on social media, all the platforms. You got to go to where they are. They're not coming to you. Be accessible means be able to be reached. If they want to reach you for a booking, don't have them search to find you. Be able to be found, and don't be overpriced where they can't find you. And be intentional. Take the gigs, take the jobs that are really going to further you in your ministry where you're trying to go.
That's valuable. Thank you. Thank you. So we've heard be knowledgeable, be informational. I mean, get as much information as you can and be accessible and be visible. Let me go to you, Simone. You muted.
Phil, we thought you were unmuting us and muting us back.
Yeah, I did just unmute myself. Okay, here we go. I was thinking of a couple of things, but I'm gonna go along with the getting information. Also with that, get a mentor or a counselor or join a peer group, people who are on the same path as you, who can help you to accelerate.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard how masterminds can help people to grow that much faster than if you were doing it on your own. Over the last couple of years, I had joined a mastermind with this fantastic coach, and she really helped me to get out of my shell and to be more visible and to be more more open about who I am and what I have to offer. So it really does help you to jump out there and accelerate and get where you're trying to go faster, which is why we are here at IGAA. We're here to help provide that. In a multitude of counselors, there is wisdom.
Yeah, and you yourself are a coach, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're in need of a coach, Simone Henry may be the person for you, especially if you need to be nurtured in your craft. I find her spirit to be very nurturing and very helpful to people, especially those of you who are getting started, or maybe those of you who may have had a negative experience. Everybody can't deal with people who are just getting started or have had a negative experience. You said something very impactful about coaching and mentoring, because for a long time, I mean, I've been mentored, but I've never been coached. And so for a long time, I didn't think I really needed that because I had reached a certain level of success. But let me tell you, it's very valuable. Coaching and mentoring can get you where you're trying to go. And it may cost you. You may have to sacrifice, but the gain is so much more than the sacrifice. So thank you for that tidbit of information. I'll go to you, Robert, and then I end with Earl.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Philip. Last year at the IGAA conference, we had two major buzzwords, and that was shift and pivot.
Mm-hmm.
That's my advice to artists out there now. We have to continue to shift and pivot. And a perfect manifestation of that is what we're doing right now. And shout out to StreamYard for giving us this platform to be able to present information immediately. Of course, 5 years ago, we put out a flyer and said, hey, show up. But now it's the message goes out at 7 p.m. and we're live at 9 p.m.
That's
So,
correct. That's correct.
right. We have to shift and pivot. And we're all automatically with sound engineers, we're tech persons, and we're still artists as well. So we all have to shift and pivot.
And to add to that, my friend Reverend Tony Lee says shift and pivot in the wind.
Exactly.
Shift and pivot in the wind.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you for that valuable advice. Earl?
I would say also with what everyone else said, map your career. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to end up? Where do you want to be? Because without a vision, we perish. If
Yeah.
we, want to be biblical. However, I think we need to map and like Thomas said, everything. I think you said something with purpose or something to that extent. And because I'm the mindset, if I'm gonna do something, there's something else I'm doing with that something, not
Hmm.
just that one thing. So always have something um, or something else to go. I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes said when he does a conference or anything he does, he find 5 other things that he can get out of that one thing. So I think that's important.
You all, we are here tonight with the IGA Board of Directors, who are also, all of them are instructors and clinicians at the IGA Conference, along with other valuable people that will be coming there. But they're here every year to help. And I've never had them online with me all at one time. And this is a treat tonight because there's so much knowledge in this form right here. It can literally change your life. So we want to invite all of you all to consider coming to the IGA Conference, which is July the 7th through the 9th. It's going to be all virtual, all online. It's going to be on Zoom. All our clinicians are going to be there with us. And all you have to do is worth the investment of $99. Go to www.indiegospelalliance.com and register today. It is the best investment. I remember my friend Ike Owen says the best investment under $200 that any artist, major or indie, could ever make in themselves as it pertains to information. And so you want to come on, and we have been around 12 years. We got staying power, amen. We didn't go nowhere. I didn't say I won't say I didn't want to quit, but we didn't go anywhere. We are still right here because it's difficult trying to help people in one sense that it's not that they don't want to be helped. They just don't know that they need this kind of help. And so we're trying to help you all to understand that this is the missing link for 99% of you. And for the 1% that is not, you know their names already. But for the 99%, this is the missing link. It's not just about information. It's about fellowship. It's about networking. It's about keeping yourself abreast of what's going on. It's about building your network and your community outside of what you already know. So let's go to our 5 tips. And I'm gonna start with 1, building online community or communities, building online communities. Many of y'all may not know what that is, but that is what the Lord called me to do during this pandemic process. I built an online community called Hymns with Philip Carter, and we broadcast to over 180,000 followers every day of the week. And I didn't start with that. I started with 5,000 that was dormant for 5 years, and I woke a couple of them up and continued on doing it. But I built an online, I call it my beloved faith community, the Hymns family. And what does that do? What happens when you build an online community? You build an online community of people who dig what you have to offer, who God sends to take what you have to give, and in turn they give to you because you are giving them what they are in need of. And so if you have a gift or a talent, or God has called you to do something, this is one way to build an income for yourself that has no ceiling. Y'all understand what I'm saying? This income has no ceiling because social media is not like your church. Okay, if you have 10,000, you can have, your church can have 10,000 people in it, and you can minister to your community, and there's a projection as to how much you can grow. But when you're online, you can have 1 million people on the page, and nobody else on the other page next to you have any idea that you even exist. So it has no limit. You can build how far and how wide you desire to build with your gift and talent. And for that, if you obey the Lord and do that, there's a return that's coming to you that's far beyond your imagination, far beyond your projection. You set your projection to meet your goal, but there is something behind that that's far greater. And I'm gonna stop. Does anybody want to comment on that?
I'd like to,
Hmm.
because this is my wheelhouse, right? Helping, I feel like this is the foundation, especially now, where that in 2022, where the music industry is not the same as it's always been. I feel the foundation that artists should be laying first and foremost is building that community, building that fan base. And I'm not talking about people who are going to be trying to rip your clothes off as you're running, as you're going down, the red carpet or anything. I'm talking about supporters, community people, people who like you, who like your music, who like what you have to do, who are getting benefit from what it is you're doing. These are the people who are listening to your music. These are the people you're selling your CDs and your merch to. These are the people who are streaming your music, and these are also the people who are going to help to push you to the levels that you want to go to, whether it's to the charts, whether it's getting, awards and different things, whether it's you're trying to put together a tour. These are the people that are going to help you do that, because they're going to help push you into whatever area you want to go. Having that support around you can take you into whatever area you want to go to. So you're building it, Philip, with your consistency. I see it on YouTube every single day. You're out there multiple times a day, sometimes, with your special lunchtime hymns and morning hymns. Sometimes when you're out there on a regular basis, people can depend on you. They know, they know you're going to be there. And that helps them to stay engaged and to keep coming back when they know they're getting something from it. Building a community is not just about you being out there. You're also connecting people with each other
Hmm.
around your ministry.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. And I rephrased it, online communities, because you can build more than one community.
Absolutely.
So that's very vital for anybody that wants to get involved with that. We definitely going to be spending a lot of time talking about how to do that at the IGA conference. So, anybody else want to, want to
Can I
talk
say
about that
one
before
more
we go
thing?
to the next thing? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
One more thing I wanted to say is that building a community and having that fan base is not just for you and your career. It also helps the people,
Mm,
because we're in a time now, as we've been living through this pandemic. Yeah, we have social media, we've got YouTube, and we've got we have all of this technology at our disposal, our phones and everything. But at the same time, we are more disconnected now than we've ever been.
mm-hmm,
We are the richest country on earth. We have everything we could possibly need and want, yet so many of us are living on antidepressants.
mm-hmm,
We need connectedness and we need community. So as an artist, if you can help to facilitate that and support that, you're doing a fantastic thing for the world.
yeah. And you're speaking all truth. And one great thing about what we're talking about tonight is that anybody can build. This is not just for independent art. Anybody can build an online community. It's not just for people who are singing gospel. It's for anybody in any type of music. But if you're singing gospel or you're doing any type of ministry, then you can build a faith community around your ministry, around what you do. And I guarantee you that if you're sincere about it, if you're good at it and you're consistent, then it will pay itself back to you. So, does anybody want to say anything about that before we move on? Anybody else?
Yeah, I have one more comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thomas mentioned earlier about being intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And as we talk about branding at the conference, one thing that you should do as you're building your communities, plural, and that's be the same person on each platform.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for example, Earl Bynum is Earl Bynum on every platform. Robert Person is Robert E. Person
Mm-hmm.
on every platform. Philip Carter is Philip Carter on every platform. And as a radio person, and I know Earl can attest to this, when you want to tag your fellow artists, you got to find they're not the same on each platform. So that'd be one way to build your community with intention.
Yeah. Yeah. That segues into this next point. Another way to build, to make money now. You talking about making money right now. I'm talking about when you put something together and you're gonna see it, and you can see dividends in a short amount of time. Is subscriptions, Patreon, Facebook, and YouTube subscriptions. Um, and what is that? It's when people sign up to support you with a monthly figure, a monthly, and in all of these, except for YouTube. I think YouTube you can set your monthly figure too. So in all these, you can set your monthly goal as to what you think people will be willing to pay to support you every month. And they will all suggest to you as well what they think you should do. Is all these platforms, what's successful, and you can watch what other content creators are doing. But this is a great way, if you're going to be online, to make money now, is to have your fan base, especially the people that are used to seeing you live, or they can go online, they can support you until you get back out there, or things of that nature. And it's nothing like, it's like being a church musician. It's nothing like having that check come every month. It's nothing like having that subscription come and you know it's coming and you have a set amount. Now you can start to make a projection because you have set amounts coming in and you're growing those amounts. Anybody want to stop right there? Anybody want anything they want to say about that?
I'll say something.
Okay.
I love this concept because you could, depending on when people are joining, you can have a campaign and have people join like all in 1 week, or have people, or you're constantly bringing in new people, and you can have money coming in every day of the month, because whatever platform you're on is just going to charge them on 30 days, every 30 days, right? So you can have money coming in every month, or every day of the month, really. The thing I want to really say about this is that if you're going to be offering subscriptions, have levels. You can maybe have a $5 level, a $10 level, $15 level, and you're offering different things in each level. But also make sure that you have stuff that's free for everybody, whether they're a member or not. So basically, what you're going to do is that the people who are members will be special. They'll get stuff. They'll get early releases. They get early access to stuff. They may get special deals on the merch and stuff that you're offering, discounts on CDs, that kind of thing. They can buy tickets to your concerts early, that kind of thing. But some stuff you offer to everybody, so everybody benefits. But it's really a great way. And when we talked about that community, it's really a great way of rewarding and incentivizing people to join you and to be part of your community. Because, I like to say everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? Everybody wants to know what's in it for me. It's kind of how we're built. We're selfish people. You're only really here watching this live broadcast because you want to know, how can I make some money right now? Right? What are they going to tell me? That's the reason you're here. You're not just here to look at our pretty faces, right? So tell your people what's in it for them. How are they going to benefit? And if you incentivize them, they will join and they will send you money every month.
I like that radio station. It's pretty popular.
Everybody loves that radio station.
You got to tune in.
I want to say I'm grateful for Tamil Curtis being on in our chat tonight. She says a universal tag helps integrate platforms. Yeah. I hope you're talking about hashtags. That's what I'm thinking about when I hear universal tag. I have a couple of universal tags that I registered, that I use in all of my broadcasts. So universal, if that's what it is, universal tags really, really do help. Has anybody here seen an online concert yet? Have all of y'all seen an online concert?
Yes, and that was going to be my next point, especially with platforms like Patreon, because as a
Mm-hmm.
content creator, as an artist, you have full control of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on Facebook, we know Facebook and YouTube will mute us from time to time,
Mm-hmm.
and Instagram, because I don't know if you guys watched the latest verses. Even Mary Mary and BB and CC were muted on that platform singing their own music.
Mm-hmm.
So one good thing about a platform like Patreon, and there are some others, where you, like your own website, for example,
Mm-hmm.
where you can host your own content and not worry about being muted because it's your platform.
Right, right, right. Um, the whole mute thing is I've been through heaven and high water with that. But I understand that process.
Me too.
Um, um, does anybody, I really, I could down a rabbit hole, but I'm trying to come back from that. I'm not trying to go back into that rabbit hole, but, but I will say this. The subscriptions, for anybody that's interested in getting subscriptions, if you need help with that, you can contact any one of us, or you can just register for the conference, because we're going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to tell you how to grow it. I'm going to tell you how to become successful. And let me tell you something else. Somebody mentioned coaching and mentoring. In what I'm doing, I have a coach. I have people that I'm following that are doing 10 times better than I'm doing online, so that I can be motivated and inspired and use some of the tips and tricks that they're using to grow what I am trying to do pertaining to the ministry that God has given me. I'm not just taking the stuff that's some rock band is doing. I'm taking stuff from people who are doing ministry on another level online that can help me get to where I'm trying to go. So we got Patreon, we got Facebook, we got building online communities. Let's talk about consistency, y'all. Consistency in what you do. Um, how valuable is that? Thomas, Earl, or Garrett, anybody, feel free to chime in. How valuable is consistency in this pandemic right here? We're trying to be consistent in having a conference every year and not dropping off. How valuable is consistency right now? Anybody, feel free. All right, go ahead, Earl.
I was letting Thomas go.
But go ahead.
Uh, you want me to go? It's everything. I mean, if you're not consistent, most people won't even take what you're doing as serious. You have to be consistent, and that I think is the biggest enemy in the gospel community is inconsistency. So I think if you're going to do anything in any aspect of it, it's all about being
Mm-hmm.
consistent.
And I too agree with Thomas. I think that is so true. You got to be consistent. You even in your social media platforms, you have to post content, and it needs to be every day. I know it gets overwhelming, but you have to, on purpose, and be intentional to try to do it every day. I think it's very important. And I think it's important that you understand who you are and who your audience is and be okay with that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I say something about that?
All
Um,
right.
I have to I have to confess, I have a hard time with this. I really do. I have not been consistent with anything my whole life. So I have learned, but I do know that I need to be consistent in my posting, in my shows, all of that. So if any of you out there are like me, um, here is what I have endeavored to do is to build in some accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So like with my podcast, I asked my friend Sean, my friend Ron, DJ Ronnie Ron, to produce it for me. He is the most consistent person I know. Um, and if I have to answer to somebody, then I know that I'm going to show up and I'm going to do it. So do whatever it takes to help you with this. If this is not something that you do naturally, right? Because some of us are just not, naturally consistent people, just wanting to get up at the same time every day, do the same thing every day, eat the same breakfast, that kind of thing. I like variety. That's just kind of how I am. So I don't like to do the same thing every day. So it's a struggle for me. So in order to make myself do it, I have to be accountable to someone in order to actually do it. You can also build in some automation if you need to be posting on a regular basis. Maybe get one of those social media schedulers and sit down every month or every week, schedule a time and plan out what you're going to be posting that week. Set it up and have the scheduler post for you so that you're out there every day and you have put some thought into what you're posting, but you're not doing it yourself every day. So there are tools and there are ways to help you to get that consistency and to be out there, get visible on a regular basis, be seen on a regular basis, and be in front of people every day. Because otherwise, if you're not in front of them, they're going to forget you. They have lives. They're thinking of other things. So that's my tip.
Well, that's good. Look. You said, look. I thought I was gonna have to do this. You start saying I'm struggling with consistency. About to play the Young and the Restless on you. But thank you for that testimony and for the solutions that you offered to the problem. Garrett, you've been a successful attorney for many, many years, and you've been consistent. Have you found consistency to be an issue with artists in your field of work?
Unfortunately, absolutely. One of the things I was going to add to the conversation about consistency is I think it's important to be qualitatively consistent. If particularly from a presentation standpoint of your content, your talent, you want to make sure that all the stuff that you put out there is on the level that you're aspiring, or the level you're presenting yourself. You don't want to one day have a wonderful anthem that is taking the world over, and then the next day you put out a dirge or something that nobody wants to listen to. So from a quality standpoint, as best as you can, always try to put a good qualitative positive foot forward. And as far as consistency in terms of artists that I deal with, we're all human, and we have our good days and we have our bad days. The consistency that I like to see is that you are a person, you're consistent in your integrity, you're consistent in your word. I can deal with some of the craziness that goes with people being artists, but if you're fundamentally a good person and a person of your word, I can deal with it. But if you're not, if you say one thing one day and something else the other day, and they don't match up, because it's hard to remember lies, right? I mean, it's just the more lies you tell, the harder it is to keep up with what you said the other day. So just be in from my vantage point, and particularly as an attorney representing people, I want you. It's an attorney-client privilege. Everything's confidential. I would want you to be honest. I'm willing to take the good with the bad if you're honest, but if you're dishonest, it would handicap me in terms of what I might be able to do for you.
Phil, I want to piggyback on Oh, I want to piggyback on what Garrett said about qualitative consistency. And I don't want there to be any confusion with consistency and constant. So consistency, like Garrett said, you are consistent with your quality project, where constant is nonstop. And sometimes you can't be quality if you're constant. So just wanted to point out those two different words, consistency versus being constant, especially in social media.
That's important, school teacher. You just taught us something just now. Let me address just one thing in the chat. Well, first of all, Maurice Hunt, how you doing, my friend? Explain what you're talking about when you say you have to pay to play. And then Mary Goolsby, she put, can you talk about ISRC, ISNI, because you can do all that, but if your song's not tagged, it doesn't matter. If you have 1 million followers, you won't get paid. In terms of radio and digital sales, yes, Ms. Goolsby, you're right. When it comes to online digital communities, none of that has any bearing. So just know that's not across the board. If I have 1 million followers on Facebook, you need to know it doesn't matter whether my song is tagged or not. I'm going to get paid. Okay, because the payment comes through people, not through a third party aggregate service. So I just wanted to kind of make that clear. Thank you for the question, though. Okay, so we talking about 5 ways to get paid. We talked about online. We talked about Patreon subscriptions, Facebook, YouTube subscriptions. We talked about building online communities, and definitely consistency. Consistency in what you do brings about consistency in getting paid, consistency in reaping your benefits. Let's talk about merchandise. This is another way to get paid right now, selling merchandise. I wonder how many of you all that will be watching this, or how many of you all that are watching this now, are selling merchandise. And if you're selling merchandise, is it merchandise that is selling? Or if you're selling merchandise, is it merchandise that is selling? The one thing this guy came to the conference and said some years ago, he was an aggregator. He had helped me get my project into the public library system across the country. I was one of the first gospel artists ever to do it. And one of the things statements that he made, I'll never forget, is if you're having trouble with sales, have you ever considered asking your audience how they consume music? And if you know how they consume music, then you can provide it in the way that they like to consume it. And I'll never forget that, because I think that also crosses the bridge into merchandise. Because I have an online community, I have sub-communities within the online community. And so I have 3,000 folks on a Facebook page, on a Facebook group that none of y'all can see in public, that I put up polls and different designs and things like that and ask them, well, which one of these would you buy? And so if you got 2,000 people saying, I'm going to buy this one shirt, there's no need for you to sell another. You know what I'm saying? That's just the truth. So I think in selling merchandise has some tips and tricks to it, but I'll stop. Anybody, Earl, you have on a shirt. You talk about that real quick.
Yes, I have on a shirt. It says coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the back of it, if I turn around, and I'm not going to do that, it actually says on the back, Jesus. So the front says coming soon, and when I turn around, it says Jesus. So I have connected with this company called Coming Soon Jesus, and you can find them. And so I would suggest even artists that's out there, connect with the company that you can wear their stuff, whatever they make, whatever they have, and you're putting their brand out there, and you're actually getting paid while you do it. So every time I wear this shirt, whether it's on social media and I'm doing something, if I'm out doing radio somewhere, if I'm singing and doing worship on Sunday morning, every single time I wear their product, they send me money.
So we're talking about not just selling product, but being a billboard for another company.
Being billboard for another company and being okay with it. That's right.
Well, you're wearing what you promote.
Right, right.
So it's all good.
Coming soon, Jesus, you know? So, and the other piece of that is if anyone that purchased product and they put my name in or I told them about it, they send me money for that as well. So it's all in how you set that up.
Absolutely. I made a similar deal like that with Hammond in 2021. Having getting an organ that was they couldn't sell, but it's a really good organ. I use it every week, and you know if you get churches to buy that organ, you get a kickback from that. So being an affiliate of a T-shirt company or selling your own merchandise that's good stuff. How about selling merchandise with tickets? I hear Simone's head just rolling when I say that. How about selling merchandise with ticket sales? How do you do that?
I think the same way that you were talking about, hey, which of these would you buy?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're trying to sell or bundle stuff together. It's a bundle, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're offering a ticket with the shirt, or you're offering the shirt with the ticket, or however. But if you talk to your fans ahead of time, and this is why you need fans. These are your customers. You're running a business. These are your customers. And you're asking your customers, what will you buy? What would you spend your hard-earned money on? If I were to put this out there. And they tell you, and so you make it. And it's not that big a risk because they've already said that they will buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And, if they get a ticket along with it, or they get the shirt along with the ticket, it's a nice bundle. People love a deal, so offer them a deal.
It works. I'm a living witness that it works. I've seen it work with my friend Yvonne Matthews. She sells a lot of merchandise with tickets and CDs. For those of y'all think people ain't buying CDs, senior citizens still buy CDs. So if you didn't know that, I'm giving you a free tip that you would have had to pay for. So if you thought CDs were obsolete, it may be just in your generation. That doesn't mean it's all the way across the board. I don't eat Big Macs, but that doesn't mean Big Macs ain't selling. Okay, so you got to kind of consider things when you're thinking about how you're going to sell, who your audience is, what kind of shirts you're going to make, what are you representing, and where are those people? Where do they congregate so that you can make your product visible to them? So all those things you need to consider when you're thinking about selling merchandise. Anybody else have anything they want to say? Yes, sir, Thomas.
That's the thing I would say too about the merchandise, Phil, is make it questionable or edgy. I've been watching the NBA playoffs, and I noticed that none of their T-shirts have their names on them. Golden State says Cold Blooded. Phoenix says The Valley. And I thought, that's a great way of rebranding what we already know, because you already love those teams. So maybe when you do your T-shirt, maybe you do it a question, or maybe you just do the name of the song, or something that's going to make someone walk up to someone who may not even be your fan, but just be a fan of the shirt.
Yeah.
And say, hey, where do you get that shirt from?
Yeah, and I wear all my shirts, and I've got various reactions, not just from fans, but just from people in the stores and things like that. My favorite reaction was I was in Florida, and I was playing putt golf with my family. I have a shirt that says "Be still and know that He is God." It's after a song I wrote called "He's God," and a lady, a Caucasian lady, and her husband were playing adjacent to us, and she was like, "This, I really like your shirt." And the husband said, he's still God, isn't he? I said, yes. He said, somebody need to tell Biden that. And then I looked at him and said, well, God put him there. All right, we can move on to the next thing. The next, I know I was in Florida. You are. I don't need to say anything else, do I? Anyways, he was God then. He's God now.
He's still God.
And he will be.
And he will be. Come on, somebody. Oh, I could have shouted all around that court. I should have just ran and danced. But this is selling.
Be still. I'm surprised he didn't tell you to be still.
He thought he was winning a battle. But anyway, Selling merchandise, another way to sell to your to make money. Now, you all be encouraged in that because it does work. I mean, when I had years ago when I was teaching, I had my kids do a study on how secular groups, popular secular groups were making money. And touring was one thing, but it was the merch sales in the lobby that was netting them 30 to 40% of their income. So and that was then, and it's still that way now. Even though people are making economic decisions as to what they're going to do, they still want to support the people that are feeding them in one way or another. Let's go to this, y'all. Podcasting and blogging. We got radio people on here. But are any one of has any one of you all moved towards podcasting, or is any of your programs considered podcasts as well? Robert and Earl?
Yeah, my show is podcasted through. Oh, help me out. Dang, I just bombed.
It's all right. If you remember, come back to it. If you remember it.
I can't even think of the platform now, but all of my shows are podcasted. So each week you can go back and listen to it.
Mm.
Is it on Libsyn? I know Libsyn is a big one.
Oh, why can't I think of it?
There's Sprout. There's Anchor.
SoundCloud.
Oh, SoundCloud.
Oh,
Okay.
SoundCloud. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was looking at SoundCloud because I haven't done podcasting yet, but I want to get into it. Yeah. Earl?
I have shows set up for podcasting.
Ah,
I have not put them in place for podcasting.
But we all know people who podcast and blog who are doing very well. And with blogging, if you attach Google AdSense to your blog, then that, as you grow your audience, that brings advertising. Advertisers will want to advertise on your blog. You can also blog on a Facebook business page. Instant articles, you can read a blog, you can get paid through that way. You get paid that way. After you build your audience up to a certain size, Facebook will open up things to you that the average person does not see who has a business page. They wait till you get to a certain audience, wait till you get to a serious number, and then they start to open up other ways of monetization. So podcasting and blogging is huge. And if you're consistent with it, if you have a good product, if you promote it, and stick with that thing, and you're good at it, I have to emphasize that it has to be something that you're good at. You can really make a lot of money. Podcasts. One of my favorite podcasts is called Bigger Pockets, and Bigger Pockets is about real estate. Yeah, I listen to Bigger Pockets all the time. So, if anybody has a podcast they listen to, feel free to put it in the chat. Maurice Hunt says, do you feel that we as gospel artists are losing or behind in the area of marketing and promotions? Anybody want to address that? I don't want to do all the talking here.
yeah, we actually talk about that almost every year of the 12 years of the IGAA Conference. So please come see us July 7th to the 9th. But the answer to that question is most of us, not all of us, most of us put our every dime into the recording. And then when it's outside of your immediate family and friends, no one knows about it. So we have to consider marketing and promotions when you create music.
And I think we need to find the new creative ways to do it, because I'm almost convinced that we don't necessarily know how to do it anymore. We feel like just going online and saying I have a record out is all we need to do. So I don't know that we even know how to do it anymore. We used to be behind. Absolutely. We've always been a little behind because that's just unfortunately been gospel. But so, yeah, I think we're a little behind, but I think we just have to figure out how to rebrand it and be intentional about it.
So if you all are being blessed by this tonight, then you may want to consider coming to the IGAA Conference. It's July the 7th through the 9th. It's online. It's 2.5 day boot camp of learning, growing. We do have nightly worships, services that will be broadcast online via video and some live performances. So if you register, you can submit your video to be aired on either Thursday night or Friday night, and it would be aired to all of our audiences, our combined audiences. It would be a lot of people, a lot of exposure. So we're not just working during the day, or we're also working at night, giving you exposure as well as teaching you during the day. This conference is for people who know without a shadow of a doubt that if you get this information, it's going to change your life. And we have changed so many lives. Last year, I think it was last year, 2020, Monica Lisa Stevenson reached #1 on the Billboard. She was an attendee of the conference. Javon Inman, Rob Mercer, and Clinton C.D. Porter were all. They got a group called Dark to Light. They were doing very good. They were attendees of the conference. Richard Davis, who was nominated preliminary round for Stella, went to the Stella Wars, was part of the conference, and so many more people who come to our conference, whether it's 1 year, 1 day. So many clinicians have come and learned things, and they are the professionals, because there is power in the room. There is power when you're around different people with different expertise and different knowledge that can help you get to where you're trying to go. So if you're an artist and or you are an independent label owner and you really want to grow, this is the place to grow. This is the place where you need to plant your feet. You can go to other conferences. We support them all. But this is the only conference where you're going to get this kind of information in this format, with no fluff and no frills. It's real talk. So we've learned a lot tonight. I'm gonna do one or two. I'm gonna do one more, and then we're gonna be out of here. I believe we've done 4. Let's talk about. We can talk about online content, virtual videos, or online and in-person concerts. I say let's go to this. Let's go to online content and virtual videos. What is that? It's creating content that can be played every day, whether it be a Facebook Reel, Instagram Reel, TikTok, or you can sell tickets to a virtual concert, or you can do free virtual concerts for donations, or you can do virtual videos for churches. I just named 3 income streams that I know I took advantage of during the pandemic, which has helped me in so many different ways. Even now, I have a few churches a church that is still paying me for content, even though they are back in-person worship. So, you take advantage of what you're seeing now, because this is not going away. It may not be as lucrative, but it's not. But if you're consistent with it, it will pay off. Anybody want to add to that before I go to the next thing? Okay. Well, I want to encourage you all to think about creating online content, get good at it, find apps and things like that can help you create it fast without a whole lot of issue. I have different series that I have. I have songs from the car. I have songs I sing with my mother who has Alzheimer's. I have songs. I have all these different things that people never get bored, because I try to keep things fresh. Sometimes I broadcast professionally. Sometimes I broadcast just my phone, because authenticity is what people will gravitate to. I'll stop. Simone, I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah. I wanted to say it doesn't always have to be where you get dressed up and you get made up and you're having an official concert. You can make it just a jam session. You can make it a get together. I've seen artists who have their kids come in and they're singing songs with their kids and that kind of thing. I've seen artists who they're playing a little bit of the song and they'll play the beginning of the song and then they're kind of continue it a cappella, and then they're chit-chatting and talking with the audience. But you can make it a get together. It doesn't have to be the same thing every time. It all kind of depends on your personality. You're not just sharing your music, but you're sharing a bit of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be exactly the way Phil does it. I was working with this one artist and I was telling her, look at Phil's broadcasts and, see kind of what he does and kind of glean a way of doing your own live streams. And she came back, she's like, oh, well, I got to pray about this. I said, well, what are you going to pray about? She said, well, I don't know about the hymns. I'm not sure if I like hymns. I said, you don't have to do hymns. You can do a jam session if you want to. I was just saying, look at his setup. And look at how he's interacting with the audience. You know, if you don't want to play hymns, don't play hymns. Do you, boo?
After, yeah, do you and be the best you can be. You're exactly right. I'm just and look. I didn't come online to play hymns. I have 11 albums. But you have to do. But I grew up with hymns, and you have to do what ministers to people, and I enjoy it. I love them. I love it. But it's kind of ironic for me. Sometimes I sit back and think, I got all this other music, but this is what the Lord calls at this moment for me to do. And that's another thing. That's another lesson for all of you all, especially since we are a gospel audience. If the Lord has called you to do something, then don't go do something else. Do that, because that's where the favor and the provision is. It's not in the other thing that you think that you're going to leave behind. He will bring that back too. It's like if you have a balloon, if you do this up here, then everything else under it will reap the benefit from what you're doing up here. So I definitely want to encourage you all to do that. Maurice Hunt, all these questions you got, you need to register for the conference. We want you to register. Come on, man. And I want you to take the time and register, because I think it really was going to help you or either you can help you to help somebody else. He says, what are your thoughts on gospel artists getting corporate sponsorship? Why not? I heard a well-known artist at a concert stating that they have to reject companies like Ciroc that would have paid for everything on the front end sponsorship. Well, it depends. It depends. What are you representing and what are you saying? So Live Nation sponsors gospel concerts, and we have no idea who they support. We have no idea what they all about. You go to Walmart, and Walmart's been one of the biggest Republican supporters. And if you're not a Republican, you didn't seem to care when you had to go there and get what you needed. So you got to go. So you have to put it in perspective when you start thinking about how church folk will feel about you getting sponsorships. If Ciroc is willing to pay for your sponsorship, then just remember the story of the lady who was out of groceries, and she kept praying to the Lord, and her neighbor, who was an atheist, thought that he would go and surprise her with groceries, and so he surprised her with groceries. She gave God praise. He said, no, it wasn't God, it was me. She said, and you made the devil bring me my groceries. So thank you so much, Jesus. So you got to consider that as well. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
God can use anybody. Even if you're an atheist and you really don't like him at all, you hate him, whatever, he can still use you.
That was real good.
I mean, if there's an internal feeling that you shouldn't do it, then don't do it. But don't let religious folk talk you out of doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, if they're trying to change you and change your message or whatever in order to get their money, well, then maybe you need to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a set of morals and values, but you need to, you as my Sunday school teacher said, pay about it. She could never pronounce the R. Pay about that thing, and then move accordingly. Pay about it. I'm not gonna mention her name. She might tune in this broadcast later. Pay about that thing.
Not to mention Ciroc might be their fan base. But,
you said what?
Not to mention their fan base might be Ciroc.
They might be drinking this for sure. Jesus turned water into wine.
Miracles, signs, and wonders.
Here's the last thing, then we got to go. Online and in-person concerts. Of course, you all do in-person concerts. But I wonder how many of you all think about doing small in-person concerts. We always shooting for the big thing all the time. And then you get mad when 1,000 people don't show up.
No,
how about doing something for 25 people?
Absolutely.
And they show up, and you have a consistent situation going on that will eventually reap big benefits. I wonder how many people have thought about that.
I think it's more lucrative.
You said what, Thomas?
I know one that did it and did it successfully.
Yeah, I used to have something called Monday Night Mini Musicals, and it was in a small church, and we packed it out on Mondays once a month. And I took a picture, and the only thing people see is a packed house. They didn't care that it wasn't but 50 people in there. They saw people standing on the walls.
The illusion of the camera.
Hey, perception is everything.
Stronger than reality.
Absolutely.
It's strong. It's absolutely stronger than reality. It's everything. And so I want to encourage you all, think about in-person, small in-person concert. Of course, in this pandemic, safe small in-person concerts, and then online concerts. Don't negate that, because everybody is not going back in the building, and some people left the building before the pandemic started. So so consider, doing things online, but being consistent with it. Have a schedule. Let people plan their life around what you're doing. And I think that you all will really, for those of y'all who are listening, who needed some tips and some ideas, if you employ one or more of these techniques, I think you'll have a testimony and a story to tell after a while, if you can be consistent. I think consistency is probably the most important thing we've said here tonight. Whatever it is you're doing, and you got to be consistent. And I have learned to do that. I've learned another level of consistency that I did not know before the pandemic began. Everybody offer a final word, and then we'll go. We want to encourage you all again to consider coming to the IGAA Conference, July 7th through the 9th, 2022. You can register by going to indiegospelalliance.com. This won't be the last time we'll be on. We're going to have all our clinicians are going to join us one way or another, and they're going to offer some expertise on their in their particular field, and we're going to continue to have these discussions leading up to the conference, and even after the conference, we're going to continue doing some things. But go ahead and register. Go in, invest in yourself, change your life. You hear people talking about, oh, you can change your life. And, I used to not believe them, but I discovered a secret. You can change your life if you dive all the way in to what they're selling. So if Les Brown is one of the most successful people in the country. Les Brown would tell you, you can have what you can change your life. But I learned something about, I just can't listen to Les Brown and be successful. I got to dive all the way into what Les Brown is saying. So if you commit yourself, if you make an investment in yourself, then you can make this happen. So I'm gonna go around the room. Everybody give one final thought. Earl, I'll start with you, and then we'll go on around.
I would just say continue to do what you do, dream, and as you dream, put it forward and move with it, regardless of what you have, and understand that can't nobody beat you being you. So continue to be the best you that you can be.
I hear you, motivational speaker. That was tight. Thomas?
I would say, again, be intentional, be investing in your ministry, and come to this conference. It's intimate, but it's so impactful.
Brother Garrett?
I would say do for self. If you're not willing to do for self, you can't expect others to do for you.
Thomas? I'm sorry, Robert?
Yeah, I would piggyback on the last comment about small venues. Don't forsake small venues and small churches. I think I may be able to speak for Phil and Earl, but I can honestly say some of my more successful moments from a CD sales perspective were at smaller venues. The larger churches, I would always walk away with CDs, but there have been a lot of storefront churches where I had to go back to my car and get more. So don't forsake the small venues. And the last one is just please come to the conference, July 7th through the 9th, IndieGospelAlliance.com. Please register.
My brother Alpheus Anderson says, big doors swing on small hinges. He preaching good, ain't he?
That sounds Baptist-y.
It is bad. It right is. Go ahead, Simone.
Baptist-y.
Right.
No.
I am going to tell you what my coach told us. Big dreams require big support. And that is why we are here to support you and why we are telling you to come to this conference this July. You're here probably listening to us because you do have big dreams and you have some things that you want to do in your life, in your ministry, but you need the help. You need the support. That's why we're here. That is I think it was Jesus who said, there is wisdom in a multitude of counselors. Well, let us be your multitude of counselors. We will help you, we will support you, and we will help you to reach those big dreams.
Well, that's great advice. All of y'all have offered some great advice. I'll say two things that I definitely will repeat in July. The first thing for every artist that's listening to us tonight, especially if you're an independent artist, is don't ever say you can't afford it while you're driving around in your $30,000 car and living in your $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 house. It's not that you can't afford it; it's that you're not willing to make the investment in yourself. And so you can afford it, but you need to make the investment in yourself. You need to, and not just with your album. If you're gonna spend $20,000 on an album or a single, or $5,000 on a single, people release a single these days, and you went and hired the best producer, to not spend the equal amount of money in promotion, marketing, planning is the sin. It's a shame. And so don't ever say you don't have it. You just need to reallocate it so that you can do what you need to do. And I'll leave you with that. I'll leave you with that thought, because to me, that's the number one thing I've heard ever since I started in this, is that, all these people got, you got it too. You just got to reallocate it. So God bless all of you. Thank you all, board of directors, for joining us. Attorney Garrett Johnson, Robert Person. I feel like we're playing Hollywood Squares up here. Attorney Robert, Simone Henry, Thomas Rollins, Earl Bynum. Thank all of you all. God
Phil
bless
Carter.
all of you all tonight. Phil Carter, yeah. Go to www.indiegospellines.com, and we educate, motivate, and inspire, and we'll change your life. Y'all hang on real quick. We'll see y'all later. Let me drop everybody. In fact, let me play another video to take us on out. I'll see you all later. We'll see you all later. Take care.
The Independent Gospel Artists Alliance is a fantastic association for you to be involved with, because they care about artists. The IGAA has been working with independent gospel artists for, how long has it been now? It's been 10, 12 years now, I think. And I have been attending the conferences since the very beginning, and then got involved because the leaders really care about artists. What they do every year is that they plan the conference around what is it that artists really need to know to be successful in their music ministries, in the music business, in the music industry. And many artists have taken what they have learned and have seen success. So if you are interested in having success in your music ministry, if you're in this for the long haul, you really want to spread the gospel through your messages, through your music, through your songs, and while at the same time having a strong fan base, and at the same time making an income from your music, then the IGAA is the place to be. And you should definitely get involved in the conferences and IGAA Hope and other things that they are doing. I joined because they are a caring organization, and they're genuine, and they truly love gospel artists, as I do. So it's symbiotic. I have learned a lot for my business ever since I have been coming. And I'm not even an artist. I just love music, and I love to work with artists. So they're wonderful people. So you should definitely get involved and come to the conference.